The following video is sponsored by the Greek American Heritage Society of Philadelphia. In the middle part of the 20th century in Philadelphia during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, if you were a guest in the city, you came to the Sheraton Hotel. And if you came to the Sheraton Hotel, whether you were a politician, an actor, or somebody that was a well-recognized figure somewhere in the country or even the world, you were handled by our next guest, who was the Director of Catering Services. His name is Jerry Kahrilas. Jerry, welcome to our program. Give us an idea of when you arrived first to the United States, and tell us about your background.
Thank you very much. My name is Jerry Kahrilas. I was born in Vathi, Ithaca, Greece, and I arrived to the United States 1949. I was sponsored by an uncle of mine. His name also was Jerry Kahrilas, which he was living in New York. But I wound up living with my other uncle, which he lived in Bargaintown, New Jersey, for about a month or so. I was not a farmer, and I didn't want to be a farmer. So I wound up working at a restaurant in Atlantic City. That's when I first started working in America.
Jerry, tell us about what life was like for you in Atlantic City that first year.
The first year in Atlantic City, it was kind of hell because the hours that I was working was unlimited. I was working as a dishwasher 12 hours a day, 88 hours a week, round the clock practically, for $44 a week. So that was bad. Then I was so disgusted, I wanted to leave and go with the March Marines, which I have documents, that I was in the March Marines one time or another. But when I told that to my uncle, he says, I'm crazy. I says, well, this is not a life. He says, stay here about a month or so, and if you cannot get a better job, or I cannot get you a better job, I'll make sure that I will find you a ship to live. So he changed my mind. I stayed. Then I got a job as a busboy at the Claridge Hotel, and that's where my life started smiling to me in America, and that was beautiful. It was very, very good.
Let's back up for just one moment. What actually brought you to the U.S.? Can you tell us about that moment? I think earlier we talked about it. You said you were 17 years old and the Germans had arrived on the island.
Yes, sir. Yeah. What really brought me, out of Greece, it was the hard times that we had by the Germans, also by the Italians, not so much by the Italians as well as the Germans. The conditions that we had to live under, no food to eat, we had to really starve. To give you an idea, I had a younger brother, and he was hungry and he was crying. He wanted to eat. And he don't understand why we don't give him to eat. So out of the small portions of food that we had to cut and give it to him, and we were more starvation. So therefore, put all those things together, I decided that I must live that life, live Greece, and I have heard, and my father was an American during World War II because he was a merchant mariner.
Jerry, there were two other cities that were significant in your journey here in America early on, the city of Chicago and Miami. Can you tell us how you arrived in those two cities and your life there?
Yes, sir. The Chicago, a couple of friends of mine from Atlantic City, they were going to Chicago, and they asked me if I wanted to go along with them, and I said yes. And we went to Chicago, and immediately we started working. It was no problem finding a job in Chicago, and the pay was good, and I liked Chicago. The Greek community was excellent, a lot of churches, and therefore it was very, very enjoyable, especially at the hotel that I was working at, the Conrad Hilton, which was the old Stevens Hotel. It was the largest hotel in the world, 3,000 sleeping rooms. And at the time, King and Queen of Greece Pavlos and Frederica were the guests of the mayor of Chicago at a dinner at a hotel of about 800 at least people in the ballroom of the hotel, and it was beautiful. First time in the history of the hotel to have a royalty, and of course from Greece. And the security, again, it was unbelievable, but it was really, really nice.
Well, what brought you to Miami then? If Chicago was such a great place.
The agenda with those two friends from Atlantic City were to stay in Chicago to the end of December and then go to Miami. So we went to Miami. Again, I got a job in Miami at a good job at the Casablanca Hotel, working as a waiter. I was already a waiter by that time, working as a waiter. And then after April, I decided to go back they come back here. I decided to go back to Chicago. Why? Because I saw more opportunities in Chicago than I ever will see or have in Philadelphia.
What year was that exactly?
That was 1951.
1951.
Yes,
You
sir.
said to me something earlier before we started the interview about if someone had said to you, you would ever leave Chicago again. You remember your response?
Yeah. You out of your cotton picking mind that I will leave Chicago to come back to Philadelphia because it was such a, as we say in Greek, φτωχομάνα. Είχε δουλειές και έκανες και καλά λεφτά. So, ποιος ο λόγος να φύγω από το Σικάγο. Αλλά ύστερα που ήρθα, αποφάσισα ποιος ο λόγος και εγώ δεν θυμάμαι, αρρώστησε ο θείος μου νομίζω, να τον δω και πιάνω δουλειά στο Barclay αμέσως.
And that was what year? 53, 54? 55.
55.
So that brought you back. That brought you back to Philadelphia.
To
working
Philadelphia.
at the Barclay.
Yeah, the end.
That's in Rittenhouse Square.
Correct. Yes. Then I have met Irene actually, in Atlantic City.
Well, let's talk about her. Give us her full name first. In Greek, let's hear it. Then you can call her Irene. What's her first name?
Areti. Yeah. Markelos.
Markelos.
Yeah.
She was from the Philadelphia metropolitan area?
Yes. Okay. Yes, she was. And she worked for RCA in Cherry Hill. She was one of the pioneers of the computer business. And she worked as a punch hole verifier.
And how did you meet?
I met her at in Atlantic City. She had a cousin, Telly Mumas, from Epirus.
Okay.
Yeah, from Yanina, outside of Yanina. So that's what I met her. And then when I come back, 55, I went to a Greek dance at St. George. And there's Irene. I said, wow, that's a long time ago since whatever. So I began to like her, and it was another guy from Atlantic City that he was dating her. But I asked him, so I didn't want to, it was a good boy, Charlie Miras. Yeah. So του λέω, άκου, δεν ξέρω τι σκέφτεσαι εσύ, αλλά εγώ τη γουστάρω. Αν δεν θέλω να μαλώσουμε και δεν θέλω να μην μιλάμε, αλλά όχι. Λέω, εντάξει, τότε θα συνεχίσω εγώ το πρόγραμμά μου. Λέει, ναι. And I continue.
Very gentlemanly, like that.
Very good, right? Yeah.
So that was 55?
Yes, sir.
So the two of you tell us about your marriage, where you were married, and you baptized your first kid.
Yeah, and the church of Evangelismos, 12 and Fitzwater.
Right.
Okay, now, I was married by that priest, but not in Evangelismos, not in a church, in my father-in-law's house.
Really?
Yeah. Why?
He married you in your father-in-law's house.
Yeah. Why? I'll never know. I didn't ask any questions. I don't know. I was too naive or ignorant or whatever you want to call me.
Where was the house? In Philadelphia?
No. New Jersey.
New Jersey?
Yeah.
So you got the priest from Evangelismos to come to New Jersey to marry.
Yeah, because my father-in-law and the family were members of Evangelismos, and they knew the priest, and it was no problem, for Father Marquidis to come. And as a matter of fact, I remember I offered him a beer or whatever. He says, yeah, πάρ' εκεί, το βρίσκω εγώ, μη στεναχωριέσαι.
Take us to 1958. You're married now.
Yeah.
The Sheraton Hotel has just been opened.
Correct.
And a big opportunity takes place for you.
Yes. I went there to apply as a waiter. And when they saw my application, which I filled it there, you know, my education is not all that great, but nonetheless, don't ask me why or how, but they were impressed, these people. And he says, no, we don't want you as a waiter. We want you as a captain of the waiters. It took me by surprise. I had already worked as a captain of waiters in Chicago at a country club outside of Chicago. And therefore, I says, okay, but if I don't like it, because, you know, I always thought, as a waiter, you're making more money because you put the check down, you're going to make money. As a captain, you have to have a talent to get the money out of the people's practically pocket, you know, right?
Well, that was a skill you had. You were
correct, right. So when I started working as a captain, it was no problem for me. To give you an idea, one party alone, he came, you know, a deuce, and I put him on the table, and then he asked me to, captain, I said, just a minute, because I was on my way to another table. I says, I'll be right with you, sir. So I went over, I took the order, and he gave me something, which I put in my pocket. You know, and then when I went to rewrite the order, because my English was not that great, but nonetheless, I had to write a clear for the waiter, because he will give it to the cooks to get the right foods out of the kitchen. Otherwise, we're going to have a big problems, you know. So I looked the money, I saw, I says, holy smokes, must be 10. Then I looked $50 the guy gave me.
Wow.
Back then, 1958 or 59. I thought he wanted me to take care of the whole bill out of the damn thing, you know? Yeah, but nonetheless.
Tell us the hotel, some of the people that you actually met working at the hotel, running the facility.
Some of the people that I met, of course, I met from presidents, President Ford, Vice President George W. Bush, many governors. Scranton, it was one, others of the military. We had
actors, movie stars.
Oh yeah, actors. Bob Wagner, Jane Wyman.
I think I saw a picture in the back of the house with Joey Bishop.
Yeah, Joey Bishop, very good. Yeah.
And the famous Grace Kelly.
Grace Kelly, yes. Actually, Grace Kelly and her whole family, except her father, because he was dead. When I was in a Cafe Carême as a head waiter, they come for dinner. I took the order, and she gave me the order, vodka and tonic with an accent. And I almost tempted to say, Your Highness, me, I can't help it, but you were born here in Philadelphia for crying. But I didn't say that. I didn't say that to her, you know. But nonetheless, that's truth, yeah.
Well, inside the hotel, there was probably the most famous French restaurant in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Arguably, some have said it's called Café Carême.
Carême.
You had a situation with the banquet manager. Could you tell us all about that?
Yeah, the situation, it was as follows. The food and beverage director, he was German, from Germany, nice man. But nonetheless, he says to me, Jerry, I says, yes, Mr. Slow, we're going to change the name from Café Carême to Café Acropolis. I says, why? Because you got all Greeks working in here.
Where were all those Greeks from?
From Epirus, most of them.
How were they as waiters? Were the waiters from
They were very good. They were hard workers, and they were excellent. And that's, of course, being Greek helped me, you know, to help them. And but they were very, very good. So
let's talk briefly about life at home for you now. You're there at the Sheraton. You're married. Where are you living? Tell us what life was like at home. Were you keeping the traditions of being Greek alive? Were you attending church? Tell us about your Hellenism, your background there.
Yeah, yes, sir. I was very fortunate to have a wife who she was brought up with all the Greek traditions, and she followed them more than I, and I was born over there. So the kids, my children, they both learned how to speak Greek before they learned English.
Was that the first language of the house?
Correct. It was the first language of the house, Greek, and they loved it, and we loved it.
What do you love about being Greek? Tell us what's your favorite thing today, because the interview is being done in English, but I see you constantly you go back to Greek. What is it about yourself and your Hellenism that you love most?
Well, pride, I guess, is one of the most things. Extremely proud to be Greek, extremely proud what Greece represent, what they have done for the whole world, not only for me, and including World War II. Even the American newspapers indicated at the time that we relive in history. The old Greeks rose and fighting the massive of Germans, which was unheard of. No other European country declared war against Germany except the Greeks, World War II, including French, because Italy was allies with them. We pushed the Italians out of Vienna into Albania, actually, and we declared war, which was unheard of, even for Hitler. On the Bulgaria side, and the Germans were coming that way, and we held them for a period of time. And that time, it was enough time for the Allies, Americans and British, to reinforce in the Middle East. And when they got there, the Germans, they found it difficult because that time, they reinforced with ammunitions and armies and so forth and so on. And that's really when they lost the war, the Germans.
Let's talk about traditions a little bit at home. Have you managed to you and your wife put some of these traditions, pass them on to the kids? Do you hold them up? And tell us which community, what part of the community you're part of where you live today.
Okay, today I live in a community of St. Luke's, in Broomall, Delaware County. But the earlier years, especially for my kids, it was St. Demetrius, Upper Darby. I lived in Upper Darby for 5 years. I bought a house, my first house. It was on Veronica Road, 7072.
A lot of memories down there?
Yes, a lot of memories down there. A lot of memories of St. Demetrius. I was a president of the St. Demetrius Council. Yes, sir. And I served as a member of the council for a year or two. Father Ted Logothetis. He was, and he was a fine man. And I had a lot of arguments with some of the people because they put me against the wall, So one, I threw the meeting, actually, because I thought it was wrong what they were trying to do,
So what brought you out here to the Springfield Broomall area, and when did you come out here?
Well, okay. First I moved from Upper Darby to Drexel Hill. Then I moved to Springfield and this area. Then I realized that I was more close than St. Luke opened, 1962, 63, someplace around that era, So therefore we decided, the wife and I, we are more close to St. Luke's than we are to St. Demetrius, distance-wise and otherwise. So that's what made us move here, and we didn't have to do much moving because everything that we had there, it's right here.
How do you spend your time today? What do you do with yourself to keep you busy?
The yard around the house, tomatoes, zucchinis, and those things, and spend time as much as I can with the grandkids and my both daughters, or that I take them out to dinner, or they take me.
And I know you're a local member of the AHEPA chapter here.
Yes, I am.
So you do some volunteer work, some philanthropic work. What's that like for you?
Okay, that is great because we have some members who are givers. They are philanthropic minded people, and we give to those who not enjoying life because they don't have the incomes that otherwise and other people do. So I enjoy that very much, and I'm very proud to say that I'm an AHEPAN, and I have 50 years member of the AHEPA family, and I'm very proud of that. Yes, I am.
Jerry, thank you for talking with us. Good luck with the AHEPA, the grandkids, and the garden. And again, thank you for talking with us at Cosmos Philly.
Thank you very much. It's an honor that you gave me the interview, the opportunity to have this interview, and really I appreciate it.